Welcome to the Explainer. I am so thrilled you're joining us today because, honestly, we are about to decode some of Stonehenge's biggest solstice secrets. We're going to journey right into the heart of the world's most famous prehistoric stone circle, peel back literally millennia of myths, and discover the true purpose behind a monument that has captivated humanity for, well, generations. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Aligned with the Sun. Okay, so when you picture Stonehenge, you almost certainly picture it in relation to a specific celestial event, right? For centuries, this incredible monument has been famously celebrated as the ultimate icon of the midsummer sunrise. Every single year, thousands of people gather to watch the summer sun rise over the Heelstone, perfectly framing the start of the longest day of the year. It's this iconic alignment that was rediscovered back in the 18th century, and it has pretty much completely dominated our understanding of the site ever since. But what if we've been looking at it completely backward this entire time? Seriously, what if we've been focusing on the wrong solstice all along? The latest research actually suggests that our modern obsession with that bright, warm summer sun might be blinding us to the true and honestly much darker purpose of the monument. Section 2. The Winter Solstice Twist. To really understand this massive shift away from the summer sun, we have to look at the people who actually moved these stones. Professor Mike Parker Pearson sums this up so perfectly. He said, "I've always thought when we admire monuments like Stonehenge, not enough attention has been given to who made the sandwiches and the cups of tea for the builders." I mean, it's funny, but it's also profoundly true. We spend so much time staring at these giant rocks that we completely forget the massive human logistics operation going on behind them. And that brings us to Durrington Walls, a site just a few miles away. Archaeologists unearthed a huge prehistoric rubbish tip there. Get this, it's actually been called the filthiest site in Britain. Inside, they found a massive abundance of pig and cattle bones. But here's the absolute game changer. Analysis showed these animals were slaughtered immediately upon arrival, and that slaughter coincided precisely with the midwinter period. We're talking massive, highly organized winter feasts. And the scale of this effort? Hundreds of miles. That is how far some of these animals were traveling. Chemical analysis of the cattle bones reveals they were walked all the way from the West Country, or maybe even as far as West Wales, specifically to be slaughtered for these midwinter celebrations. Just think about that for a second. The sheer logistical nightmare of moving entire herds of cattle across prehistoric Britain in the freezing cold, it's just staggering. Section 3. The Builder's Living City. So zooming out a bit, this contrast between sites is totally central to our modern understanding. Over at Durrington Walls, you had the realm of the living. It was a bustling settlement with a wooden henge, huge feasting grounds, massive crowds. Just life. But a short journey away stood Stonehenge, which was the realm of the dead. It was a solemn, quiet stone circle used as a cremation cemetery, with ashes carefully placed in what we now call the Aubrey holes. You see, these weren't just isolated spots. They were part of a sprawling, interconnected web of avenues, barrows, and henges all across this landscape. Imagine people moving from that noisy, living settlement in the northeast, walking down to the River Avon, and then traveling along a great, long processional avenue right up to the silent stones to honor their dead. It's like a giant puzzle coming together. To truly wrap your head around the scale of this ancient landscape, consider this number: 2,665 hectares. That is huge. It contains over 700 archaeological features, including more than 350 burial mounds. Stonehenge isn't just a circle of rocks sitting in an empty field. No, it is the beating heart of a continuous ritual landscape that was developed over thousands of years. Section 4. The 5,000-year-old prototype. Okay, so we've established the stones are aligned with the solstices. But this brings us to a recent, literally mind-blowing plot twist: the Bulford discovery. Unearthed just 3 miles from Stonehenge, archaeologists found 48 ceremonial pits dating all the way back to 2950 BC. And among these were 2 massive, chalk-filled pits spaced exactly 120 meters apart. Well, when experts actually mapped the ancient skyscape, they realized these 2 pits perfectly aligned with the rising sun at the summer solstice and the setting sun at the winter solstice. It was essentially a prehistoric prototype. Dr. Phil Hardin, the lead archaeologist on that excavation, hailed this as one of the greatest finds of his career. He pointed out, the sun was incredibly important to these prehistoric communities. What makes this discovery so important is just how early it is. You guys, they were tracking the sun with stunning accuracy a full 500 years before the famous Sarsen stones were even raised up. Putting all of this into a chronological perspective reveals a pretty stunning truth. We see the very first Mesolithic timber post pits appearing in this landscape way back around 8000 BC. Then, by 2950 BC, that Bulford prototype solstice alignment is built. And it isn't until 2500 BC that the iconic sarsen stones are finally raised. So Stonehenge wasn't some sudden out-of-the-blue idea. It was the grand culmination of a deep, thousand-year-old tradition of cosmological observation right there in that exact landscape. Section 5. The true meaning. Let's pull all these incredible threads together. We've got winter feasts, realms of the dead, massive ancient landscapes, and early solar prototypes. What's the ultimate meaning behind all this monumental effort? Well, the answer might actually lie in the dirt itself. Recent excavations of the avenue, that processional route leading to the monument, revealed that it follows natural geological ridges created by Ice Age glaciation. And remarkably, these natural ridges perfectly line up with the solstitial axis. It's highly likely that Neolithic people noticed the Earth year naturally pointed to the solstice sun, and so they chose to build their most sacred monument on this very spot simply because the landscape dictated it. So when you walk up that avenue and enter the monument, the primary alignment isn't behind you. It's actually right in front of you, pointing directly at the setting midwinter sun. Think about it. In the bitter, freezing depths of a prehistoric winter, when the days were incredibly short and survival was far from guaranteed, watching that sun set between those great stones wasn't just, a fun astronomy lesson. It was a desperate winter beacon of hope. It signaled that the days were going to start lengthening, warmth would eventually return, and the community was going to survive. Which leaves us with a truly fascinating thought to ponder. We've seen how deeply these ancient people understood their environment, carefully aligning their feasts, their dead, and their massive stones with the natural rhythms of the earth and the sky. So I'll leave you with this question. If a prehistoric society orchestrated centuries of precise astronomical alignments just to survive the winter, what invisible connections to our own landscapes are we completely missing today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I will see you next time.